Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be mainly talking about March 7, a free-to-play character that you will get since the beginning, and I'm going to do a deep down analysis about this character to tell you how to build with her and how to use her, as well as what are some synergy you can make with another character in your team composition. So first let's take a look of her skill set. Her basic attack is nothing special, just doing single target damage. Her skill will provide a single target ally with a shield that can absorb a lot of damage. This is a very strong shield for 3 turns. And also, if that ally's current HP is 30% or higher, it will greatly increase the chance of the enemy attacking that ally with the shield on. This means that it basically increases the chance of provoking the enemy and let the enemy attack your ally with the shield. So you can treat it as like a soft taunt, even though it's not actually a taunt. And her ultimate will do AoE damage to all enemies and have a 50% base chance to freeze them for 1 turn. And this base chance, as you can see here, it will affect by your effect hit rate stats, as well as the enemy effect resistance stat. So that means if you are going to build around effect hit rate, then you will have a much higher chance to freeze the enemy, and that can help your survivability overall. Because once you freeze the enemy will basically, they will not skip a turn, but they will be delaying their turn by 50 action value. So as you can see here in the footage here, after I freeze the enemy, and then once it turns up, you can see he's not able to do his attack move right off the bat. Instead, his action gauge gets delayed down by 50. And so he will have to come back up in his next turn in order to perform the attack that he was supposed to do earlier. So this is a nice way to increase your overall survivability chance if you are able to constantly freezing the enemy every single ultimate. So back to her passive talent. After the ally, shield ally is attacked by an enemy, she will do a counter. It will only, but it has a limit though. This effect can be triggered 2 times each turn, meaning she can only counter 2 times at most for every single turn of hers. So let's say the enemy has 2 enemies attack your shield ally at the same time, she will counter 2 times. But the 3rd time she will not be doing the counter anymore because she reached the max limit. It has to wait for her own turn to come back up in order to refresh this limit. And because there's a limit here, that means her counter attack is actually doing 1 times toughness damage to the enemy weakest bar, which is the same toughness damage as anyone's basic attack. This is very powerful compared to other counter attack such as Clara, because Clara's counter attack, she do not have a limit. So her counter attack is only doing 0.5 times toughness damage every single counter, which is half as weak as March 7. Next, we're going to look at her ascension trait. So this one will give her a ultimate base chance to be increased by 15% to freeze the enemy. This is great. And this one will increase the duration of the shield generated by the skill by 1 turn. This is absolutely wonderful because when you are using March 7 shield, you usually do not want to use her skill every single turn because of the SP, the skill point consumption is very big. So you want to alternate her with skill and basic attack so that she can generate some skill point that she consumed back up, so for your other teammate to use. Now, extending this duration by 1 more turn is fantastic news for when your ally is probably not getting attacked that often, or probably your shield is very strong enough to survive for 4 turns, the entire 4 turns, so that you don't have to keep refreshing the shield every single turn. And this one, skill remove 1 debuff from an ally. This is one of the few cleanse skill that we have in the game so far, and March 7 is one of them. This is insanely good, especially in late game content when there is some major debuff applied on your ally that you cannot cleanse with, and you can use her skill to put up a shield plus removing the debuff at the same time. That makes March 7 a very, very great support. I personally do not want to go over Eidolon that much because my channel is mainly focusing on free-to-play units, and for free-to-play, it is not likely you're going to get all 6 Eidolon for even a 4-star character in any time in the near future. It will take you quite some time to get there, so I don't think it's good to talk about all Eidolon here, like which one you should be focusing getting it, because you're not supposed to using your gem on just for the Eidolons instead of rolling for any new 5-star character. But one thing that worth mention for March 7 is that her Eidolon 6 is actually the best one out of all 6 of them, because not only that her shield can help you protect your ally, but also it is able to help them recover HP at the beginning of each turn. And considering how her shield can last up to 4 turns by just using one skill, this is very great for her to be the only shielder in your team, which can also increase the survivability in your entire team by having E6. But again, this Eidolon is the last one, and obviously not many free-to-play players is going to get this many Eidolons anytime soon. So that's why I don't really want to talk about Eidolons in general. So how you should play March 7? Well, March 7 is because she is a single target shielder, and because in turn-based game you are not able to dodge enemy attack with your player skill. So having a shielder is absolutely important and necessary to survive any endgame content. So you want to make sure that when you play March 7, you want to shield the correct ally with the shield. So considering how there is a blast attack where it will do damage to the enemy's select target as well as the 2 adjacent targets, which is the left and right side of the ally. For March 7, you always want to shield an ally on the edge of your team composition, meaning either the most left or the most right unit. So in the footage here, you can see I started shielded with my Ting Yun at the very right because she is my most right. And why am I shielding her, not her top? It's simply because I want her to get attacked more. And because when you get attacked, you also gain energy from being attacked. So that's why I want to have Ting Yun, her ultimate up as much as possible in this situation, so that she can use her ultimate to buff my other ally, as well as giving them extra energy for their ultimate as well. And it's basically 1 stone, 2 birds. So that's why I'm slotting my Ting Yun at the very right side of this team composition. And then Serval in my team comp here, she is my main DPS. And also because of that, I also want her to spam her ultimate as much as possible as a second priority. And that's why I'm putting her right next to Ting Yun. And then next is March 7. Now March 7 right in the middle here is because when I am having like a shield for Serval, and if they do a blast attack, then March 7 is going to get hit, right? Because she's being next to her. So that way I can protect my Herta from the most left side from not getting hit, even though I don't have to shield her at all for the entire fight. Now because of this idea, you are going to use your shield first cast on Ting Yun, and then second cast on Serval, and third cast on March 7. And then the 4th turn, you will have to check whether the shield are healthy enough. Do they have enough HP? Are they looking healthy to survive an extra attack? Or if their shield is about to expire because of the turns. This is one way to play March 7, and if you're using this strategy well enough, you actually can possibly to run this team without any healer or without any second shielder, and you can have survive long enough. However, this build heavily consumes the skill point by March 7, meaning that you want to run other units that will help you do more basic attack instead to generate the skill point that you're using on March 7. And also this strategy is used mainly when the enemy boss have a blast attack move. So which means like if the boss only have single attack or only AoE attack, then this strategy is pretty much a waste of skill point. Because if the boss only have single target moves and nothing else, then you can simply shield one ally. And if the boss have a lot of AoE skill, which can hit all 4 of your units, then March 7 shield is not going to help you much, because she is a single target and it takes 4 turns for her to shield your entire team, which is not realistic at all. As for build, Light Cone for free-to-play player, recommended to use this day 1 of my new life. So this one is the best in slot for March 7 when you're free-to-play, exclude when you're not considering any 5-star Light Cone, because not only it increased her defense by 16%, and also when after entering battle, you can all increase the damage resistance for all allies by this amount of percent. So this way, not only you are going to give yourself more defense and generate more shield, and this Light Cone can also serve as an extra utility to your ally to make sure they take less damage. The reason why you're using March 7 is to keep your team survive. That's why this Light Cone is the best in slot for her, and when she don't need to do damage of her own, and she don't need any other steps besides defense and effective rate, which I will be covering later. Alternatively, you can use either the Ember or We Are Wildfire Light Cone. For the Ember, it gives you more defense, but this is a 3-star Light Cone, which means it will have a lower base stats of the defense as well as HP. So it is not worth spending your resource to upgrade this Light Cone. Instead, if you are waiting for day 1 of my new life, you should be using We Are Wildfire and just level this up to like probably level 30 for cheap investment, and also get some of the base stats bonus for your March 7. And the passive here, even though it is not the best for her, it is still something that you can utilize before you are able to get her best in slot 4-star weapon eventually. Next, we have the Relic. Relic, it is recommended to use the Knight of the Purity Palace set, 4 pieces of this. Not only it gives you extra defense, but also give you a bigger shield. And the head and the glove, you only have 1 main stat, you don't care about it. For the body part, you can either go defend or effect hit rate. Now, let me explain why you want effect hit rate instead of defend here. Because, first of all, March 7, her AoE freeze, if you are able to constantly freeze the enemy every single ultimate, then you are basically delaying their 50 action value every single time you use the ultimate to freeze them. So by delaying their action, you are actually increasing your own survivability for your entire team as well, because it will give you more room to do damage to the boss, trying to kill them before they kill you, and also you are giving yourself more breathing room to try to heal back up, or to put another shield on your ally before the boss launch a strong attack on you. And then for her boots, you want to go either defend or speed. Now, it is quite difficult to say which one you should always aim with, because if you're going for speed, your shield is going to be much weaker. That means you're not going to last long enough to survive the shield, and then you will have to refresh the shield more often. Now, having speed boots is going to allow you to move much more often, meaning that you can generate more skill points or refreshing the shield more often. This can resolve the issue of the shield being not strong enough. However, that way you are also consuming more skill points by doing so. But the good part about having speed boot is that you are also moving more often. That means you are going to generate more energy of your own, so that it can synergize with your effect hit rate build, so that your ultimate can be cast more often and to freeze the enemy more often and delay the boss more often, meaning more survivability. So it is pretty much a give and take. I would say if you are running March 7 as the only shielder in your team that do not have a second healer or a second shielder, then in that case you want to have a defense boot on March 7. But if you are going to run a second healer or second shielder, then speed boot is actually considerable here, as she will not be your only survivability unit. Moving on to the next, for the 2-set bonus, you want to use this one, because this one, it will give you extra defense, and also if your effect hit rate is 50% or higher, then you will gain extra 15% defense. And because earlier we were using a effect hit rate main stats on your body part, rather, you are pretty much guaranteed to have more than 50% effect hit rate at the end. So this is basically a free 15% defense on top of the original 15 defense that you're going to get, making it a total of 30% defense. Again, this is like one stone, two birds. As for the main stat, for the spear part, you want to have defense, as nothing else in here matter for March 7. And as for the robe, you can either go energy regeneration rate or defense. Again, if you are using March 7 as the only shielder in your team, you should go with defense here, so that you can make your shield strong enough to survive. But if she's not the only shielder, you can actually consider giving her an energy regeneration rate so that she can cast her ultimate more often. And when it combined with the speed boost and the effect hit rate and the energy regeneration rate, all three of them combined together, she is able to absolutely freeze all the enemies very constant, very often. In that way, you are able to delay the enemy a lot more in the entire fight. So that is also one way to play March 7. But in the end, it really depends on if she is being your only shielder in your entire team. So what are some characters that you can synergize with March 7 when coming to team composition? So here is a tier list that I've made upon my own experience. Fire MC is the main tank that they can absorb a lot of damage on their own. But the problem is, you playing the Fire MC, you want to use their skill very often in order to taunt the enemy so that they can attack your Fire MC instead of any other teammate. Now by having March 7 on your team together with Fire MC, you are able to put up a March 7 shield on your Fire MC, greatly increase the chance of him being target as attack, and then your Fire MC can ignore using the skill, so they can use their basic attack instead for more damage, as well as generating more skill point for your entire team. Next up, we will have Arlen. Arlen, his greatest disadvantage is that he will be consuming his own HP every single time he uses skill. In exchange, he will not be consuming any skill point. That is very good because now you can actually put up a shield on your Arlen, protecting him from dying, and he can spam his skill with no problem, not afraid of dying at all, and do a lot of damage while not using any of your skill point. Because the way that he will be dropping his own HP every single time using skill, he will be always under 30% max HP, which means he will not get the provoke from March 7 shield. This way, you are not risking the chance of the enemy focusing down your Arlen, and instead you can put the second March 7 shield on another ally, for example putting it on March 7 herself. So that way, she can be the one targeted from attack while still protecting Arlen from blast attack or AoE damage. And Arlen can always stay at 1 HP at this point to do maximum damage. Next, we have Clara. Clara, she is also relies on counter attack every time she gets attacked, and when she uses her ultimate though, it will enhance it so that every ally when they get attacked, she can also do counter attack. That's great and all, but in a situation where her ultimate is not ready yet, March 7 shield is going to help her a lot by making her as the target from the enemy boss, so she can take the hit and also do the counter attack. Next, we have Dan Heng. Dan Heng, he is a pretty interesting character that his passive relies on an ally to cast a skill that targets him. And March 7 able to have the shield target him and also provoke the enemy to attack Dan Heng, so making Dan Heng generate more energy when he being attacked. So he can spam his ultimate more, and thus more ultimate equals more damage. And the reason why Dan Heng is not in S tier is because we have a lot of other characters who can pop his passive, not just March 7. And next, we have a bunch of healer and shielder here. Natasha, Bailu, and Gepard. These three characters, you can put them together. I mean, not all of them, obviously. You can choose one out of the three, put it together with March 7 to form a very strong survivability team. And this team count is very strong in the content that do not have a timer. so that you don't have to beat enemy within a certain amount of turns. Because in those cases, you can slowly kill the enemy as long as you can survive, right? Which is aka the main quest or simulated universe, etc. The reason why they're in B tier list, not anywhere above, is because again, this is only valid for content that are not have a timer. But our current hardest content in the game is Forgotten Hall and Memory of Chaos, which have a timer you need to beat in order to max star and get all the reward. And usually in those cases, you need 2 separate teams, and that means a total of 8 units. And that's why usually you want to separate your healer and your shielder into 2 different teams. Make sure each team all have at least 1 shielder or healer to ensure that you can survive and game content, because they hit like a truck. And considering how little shielder and healer we have, and Bailu and Gepard, they are both 5-star characters, which not many of the free-to-play going to get. So meaning that we only have Natasha and March 7 to be our only shielder and healer for most free-to-play accounts. So that's why separating Natasha and March 7 into 2 different teams in the ultimate endgame content is absolutely necessary. And I'm only putting them on this tier list because when you're doing non-Forgotten Hall and when you're only using 1 team, they are very strong synergy in the same team. So to summarize everything I want to talk about March 7, she is very strong single target shooter who also brings utility by freezing all the enemies. It can take you some time to get used to her shooting priority as well as team position and mechanic, but she's definitely going to be the must-have unit in your team when you don't have many other survivability options. Thank you so much all for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.